Alright, good to go.
Okay. Do we require a recap at all, or should we just get right into where we had left off?
I think we're good to get right into, but it depends if anybody else has a worse memory.
I mean, there's always inspiration if he wants to do it.
The important thing is, I threw a water balloon.
Yeah, you.
Trying to hit me with a water balloon. Bjorn was staying. We made it to a tower.
In the Archer node.
Yeah, the Archer node where uh Altir kind is more prevalent. Bjorn being around so many dragons didn't like it and kind of stayed down, being kind of huffy and puffy about it. Had a little shooting practice with the archer we saved. Uh, Nieman?
Nemiria.
Namar.
Namir? Namar. Um, we felled a few enemies on the way up. Towards the end, Bjorn also handed over the telescope to one of the Dragonborns. Had a little tit for tat back and forth. Nothing too rude.
Yeah, a bit
Now,
snappy. Yeah.
yeah. And then Bjorn at the end decided he was going to go up there because he doesn't trust the dragons not to hurt his, what he calls, clan.
Okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Also, leaving your previous battle site from Usair after killing whatever creature you had encountered there as well. Fire-headed tree creature that was fucking phasing in and out of flames. Jesus, out of control. But yeah, that's pretty much where you pretty much gotten after that. Some people were welcomed up and went up to the top of the node right away. Barney and Mumbleman. I believe Mumbleman, you were going to sit down and start reading, and you were in the midst of cleaning and translating the front of the cover and trying to get into the book.
Yeah, I've got the first word cleaned off, and there was a letter there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Barney, I'm not sure what you were doing up there as well, but you were pretty much had met Starseer Vega, who is the, I guess, prime seer of this node, part of the clan that Altair is from, Crystalline Circle. You met another individual, Nakarin, who's like an apprentice to Vega, or potentially family, you're not sure, as they're both green scaled Dragonborn. There's a few golems up here. Also, that's also what happened. You had fought some of those vine scarabs on the way up here. But freeing a bunch of
freed them.
Yeah, freed a bunch of golems from the vines, and they helped you kill those things and get you to this point. Forgot there was combat too. That's where everyone leveled up to. But yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. Altair and Barney were being led towards the temple, where you see this massive telescopes affixed to the top of it that protrudes out the side of the rock or the back portion of this temple. You're unsure. But you see Mumbleman sort of sitting crisscross applesauce, trying to read a book. Kind of leave him there for the moment, up on this huge balcony. Bjorn was in the midst of trying to head back after his shooting excursion with Namari. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're going to pick up. So, Altair and Barney in tow, you get to the front portion of the doorway that leads into this temple. You can see Naka Rin sort of stepping off to the side, just watching you guys approach and letting you sort of wander in. Vega sort of cracks the door open. The temple to you, Altair, is familiar, but it's a little bit different in color compared to what you're used to. The stonework is quite old and moss covered. Up on top of the node that you are, hundreds of feet up in the air, the wind's blowing slightly, but it carries that scent of briny seawater being so close to the northern portion of this continent. Even up this high, the surrounding environment still reaches your sense. You still see that the once looming darkness that was over Lucere is almost faded out completely back to normal, but the overcast sky still looms pretty heavily all around. Whether it be bad weather or rain to come, you're unsure. But Vega does open up that stone door, and right as he does, that's when you start to feel the trickle of a little bit of rain finally letting.
I just follow him in.
Okay. Barney, you're sort of welcomed as well, so choose to follow him in there.
Yeah, I was gonna trail out there and
Okay.
We'll
I'll
find
get.
the dry spot.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of tents and little nooks you can find to sort of get yourself out of the weather, and it's very light at this. Nothing super serious yet. Bjorn, you're in the midst of making your way up to the temple at this time, so you'll be a little bit behind getting there. But Altair and Barney, narrow corridor is a little bit chilly at first because it's made out of stone and it's not directly in the sunlight. You sort of branch through onto the opposite sides into this ground fully. You see all around you. Oh, Mumbleman's not inside. You get the fuck out of here. All around you, the walls shield you from the elements, but the roof overhead is partially non-existent, open to the atmosphere on the last half. And if it was dark enough, you'd most likely be able to have a really good view of the stars and be able to see them. Um, Across the room, you can see Nakarin has walked in, and you see the telescope is sort of set up that you had brought there from Reuben. There is another station to the side where you can see two other members of the circle are studying and taking notes, most likely in regards to what they're seeing through that smaller telescope over there. There are golems standing at the ready within here as well that are resting sort of in these cutouts of the wall and the temples, ever devout in their protection. But you see Vega makes his way over to this newly recovered scope. Yeah. Ah, yes. You can see him looking through it a little bit. He's good alignment, Naka, right on spot. And you can see him. He focuses a little bit longer before sort of pulling back away from it, and then like refocusing, looking through it, taking in. And you can see again Naka stepping back out of the way and leaving enough space for everyone to sort of to not crowd anyone who wants to look through it. My goodness, even again, it's far more accurate than drawing enchantment. Fast. Lemurian Altair, please grant me your wisdom on the matter. Something that we have found slightly perplexing in our recent days since we've had access to a significantly stronger enchantment.
I guess I step up.
And you can see you're somewhat familiar with this kind of contraption. It's a little bit, again, slightly different from like the Dragon Node's equipment, but it's much similar in how you would use it, and it's already been pre-focused, so you don't have to really spend much time doing it. I'm going to let everyone know that this is going to cause like we're going to start some vision stuff here. So, Altair, you're going to start to peer into this lens, and I'm going to cut from you really quick to see what Bjorn wants to do before we really delve into that. You get to the top part of the stairwell, and you can see where that teleportation sigil is on the top of that little pedestal, sort of surrounded by this purple, almost like force field like dome. You can see the golems are just sort of resting there, unmoving. But as you approach, you feel the sensation of the arcana emitting from this force field.
Tried to walk into it.
And you do, and you feel a slight bit of resistance at first, but you do pass through it. And then at the moment you step onto that green rotating sigil, it flares up, and you find yourself teleported to a way different vantage than you've seen yet so far, having the widest view of the horizon and the landscape, seeing most major cities, the tree, and just everything around you. It's quite fascinating. Up at the top as well, you don't see Barney or Altair or Vega, but you do see Mumbleman, who has moved probably over here under this little tent since it's starting to now trickle rain. And that's a bit of a familiar thing for you too, Bjorn, being prone to the thunder and lightning. You notice, especially in this high up, that your runes on your body start to flare up a little bit. What would you like to do while you're up here?
Wander around and try to figure out where everyone's at right now.
Okay. So yeah, you're in the
And
midst of scanning around and looking.
just go ask Mumbleman if he knows where everyone is.
That building over there. And he just kind of generally waves towards the one with the big telescope. They're looking through it or something.
Thank you, my little friend. By the way, you missed.
I know. Would have been great if I had hit you though, wouldn't it? He says with a great big old grin.
Just chuckle. I would have thrown you from the edge into a lake.
You could probably hit the sea from here.
Water's water. I approached where everyone else is. I'm just trying to check on everyone.
You can see that as you sort of walk up to this temple, the doorway and hallway that leads into this sort of area is a bit confined for you. You kind of have to tilt your head down a little bit to sort of get through and walk, not half sideways, but you wouldn't have enough like fighting room in here per se if you were to really get into it. But you do see up ahead that it does lead inside this temple proper. And when you get on the inside, you can see, again, Altair is in the midst of about to look through one of these telescopic lenses, and Barney's sort of standing there with a few of the other members of this tribe here. Mumbleman, you are trying to ascertain the contents of that book.
I'm trying to open it, so yeah, we're starting with the...
Okay.
Because I
I would
tried a
say
bunch of different passwords,
with
and now I'm trying to clean off the front to see if it gives me any clues. I've got the one word so far, I believe, is Peter. Better?
yeah, it's Hadar was the first word that you get, but by this time, since you've been working on it, comes up with Locarius and the Arc. That's pretty much what you got. So you've gotten about 4 or 5 words as you've been slowly smudging through and trying to preserve it as best you can. So a little bit more time spent on trying to get the cover and the name of the book.
Yeah.
So you're gonna work away on that. I will cut back to this where Bjorn now comes into the doorway, and you can make out the interior of this sort of sacred temple grounds right as Altair begins to actually peer through the lens of that. So, Altair, you start looking into the lens of this device. Like, again, much similar to the ones you've seen and used, but this one inherently feels different due to the pure level of arcana from the enchantment that it emits when you focus on it. As the projection begins aligning while you gaze through it, it starts to break the very strands of compilation in your periphery. Streaks of red and blue start to whiz by, and they interlock and then split and shoot out in different directions. And you see a flash image of the Archer node in its pure form, nestled deep within this floating ground that you're standing in. This then reaches the corresponding point in the sky where the constellation meets the mass of Tariah, the Archer constellation. It begins to whirl around sort of like this 3D model, briefly showing you all angles high and low. And you see through the entirety of the physical form of Tariah and the Archer node and the constellation. Can you give me a quick wisdom check, please, and thanks? 14. Sick. Okay. All points of the nodes that you know of show up on the Atlas globe of Taraya in this broken down form, including 2 more that you've never seen that rest currently on the throne. They sort of ping each one: the Archer node, the Chalice node, the Dragon node, the Woe node, and again, the other, what the hell's the other one? Wax node? No.
Queen, I think.
Yeah, the Wayne node. That's but it's those the ones you're quite familiar with and where they are on. But again, 2 more twinkle and glisten on the location of the throne. One in the north and one sort of on the central west side of the continent, which is a bit perplexing. But now that the vision is sort of focused up, you begin to lose all the outside sound and awareness from the temple. You hear Vega's voice as he's trying to talk to you, but that fades away and silence is met now, other than the sound of moving air as you're taking in the pure vision from the node that is granted. I'm going to cut back to Bjorn and Barney now. What do you guys do inside the temple?
Barney was just kind of watching Altair, but if I heard Bjorn come in, I would have turned around,
Okay.
waved.
So a little bit of time is going to pass by while Altair is trapped within the studying of this node. So you're going to have a bit of time. I would say after 20 minutes, half an hour, Barney, you start to begin to notice with the coming evening, getting later in the day, that your sigil begins to glow that lavender essence, most likely either reaching out to you for communion or something. As well as Bjorn, since the storm is present in the sky above, your runes, since you have entered inside this building, haven't really gone down since you've had that surge in energy. And you're just going to wait?
If there's 20 minutes, I actually might go talk to these people here.
Okay, so yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer than Altair thinks.
Yeah, so after like a couple minutes, probably only like 2, I'll come talk to them. Like, hey,
Okay, so you're going to commune?
with these people.
Okay, so yeah, I'll get back to that.
Okay,
Check in
yeah.
with what you're going to do. And again, Bjorn, you feel with this storm that's about to take place that someone is probably beckoning you forth as well. So it would be the sensation of the 2 of you realizing that there's communion required.
At that point, Bjorn would walk back outside and kind of sit down, almost like a meditative state, and start drawing the rune of storm.
Okay. Where would you like to sit?
Honestly, probably right up here at a high peak.
Okay. So yeah, you can see that there's some ruins of like a fallen building up here, and there's crystals that protrude up out of the ground. But you take the sort of little winding, narrow path up to that point and sort of find a place to sit, where you then begin to carve your runes into the ground, or are you doing?
Well, I have the rune for storm on my body, but
Right.
I
Okay.
also carve it into the ground.
Okay. Awesome. I would say also, Mumbleman, at this point, you get the rest of the words on the cover of that book, and the entirety reads Hudar and Locarius and the Arcano vision.
Okay. Does it give me any insight on how to open the damn book?
It does not, but the title of the book is revealed to
I squint at the book and concentrate. If it's a vision, maybe. And he's in deep, deep thought, but going nowhere. It's like his brain is locked up and seized. It's buffering.
you. Okay. I'll come back to you in a bit if you wish to come up with something to try and get in.
Yeah, I'm of suggestions from my fellow players.
Okay. All right, I am going to continue on with what Altair said and then start to rotate between you all with your corresponding visions, okay? Altair. You see the syzygy of three major entities, which is like a celestial body of three things in a line, which is Sol, Yonyx, and Tariah. It rolls and displays it out like a graph, this complex interlocked lines and beams showing measurements and angles. And what you start to put together is that Yonyx has moved such a way that Sol's light does not make prime contact with Tariah anymore. And furthermore, the vision zooming in on Tariah enough to see the seas and the grounds, a distant shot of the world that you live in. You see Melora, the queen, majestic in size and beauty, is only partial to Sol's exposure. And in this, not only is the shadow cast beneath her veil, but the essence of life that she is so used to being granted has been altered. It begins to focus further on the tree, and you hear this faint sort of weeping, crying sound coming from it, meets your ears. The familiar black, figureless form of a woman reaching towards the light of the sun, but cannot get entirely into its rays, which then creates frustration. The weeping turns into anger and eventually retaliation and retribution. It fades away from her and then focuses on Yonic, which is now this featureless man standing in a sort of non-threatening manner, uh, trying to reason with the other form, but it's not heard. She's not listening to him. And she eventually turns away from him as he starts to drift away from her, trying to reach out, trying to grasp something, but continues to drift away to the point where Yonyx rests within the constellation diagram of the stars. Sort of showing an unusual wane cycle and creating this partial lunar eclipse. The two nodes that you are unfamiliar with on the continent of the Queen sort of flash again brightly and twinkle as sound emits from their locations. The projection whirls once more, this time to focus on the constellation of the Archer. Now, focus in hard, Altair. I need you to make a wisdom save, please and thanks. Oh, damn. Okay. Six. Can you roll a d20 for just a straight? Rounded 4. Okay. The image lays out before you. Study every fabric of this display, this stronger picture than what the Dragon node can present of the Archer node, most likely due to this location in particular. It flashes brightly, and you feel the surge within your body, almost as if you feel like you take on the wild shape form of the Archer, and it begins to influence your own powers due to the sheer overwhelming amount of arcana here. You feel energized and more privy to the ways of the Archer. So that means that for the next 4 days, you can use one free Archer wild shape per day. So technically, you would have 4 free uses of the Archer wild shape as a boon granted by this vision. It begins to pull away, almost as if something guided you to do so. And as you do, it starts to really hurt your head as you realize you've been hyper-focused on what you're seeing. All this information that you're taking in, and you didn't realize how strong the Arcana was until it was too late. The pain of high-level focus meets your eyes, and you feel your physical form now wincing from it, but you are now back to yourself, leaning now against the side of this contraption mechanism, and you can see Nakarin beginning to reach out to support you in your unbalanced state. He goes, oh, you're back. I'll alert Vega. Post haste, please rest here for a moment. It's been quite a while. And she begins to rush off to find Vega, and she leaves you for this moment. And you immediately notice the darkened sky that's showing that some time has passed by more than what you think. And I will now cut over to Barney. Yes, Barney. Barney, your pendant glows. That familiar lavender essence evening grows closer. You can feel Yonix trying to communicate with you as he has in times before. His sort of cracking voice eventually finding purchase to you as you focus in and start to commune, as it now begins to actually rain as opposed to that light drizzle that was happening. Another location you find yourself in, Drakond, of utmost importance. Do you feel the power from this place?
Do I?
It's up to you whether you do or not. It's kind of like I would say probably not too much or not entirely Arcana prone, but
Yeah.
its origination is similar to that of where you once stood, where I warned you of its presence then, although this one's sealed, safe, and quite active. This is the Archer Node, the northernmost constellation anchor in the astral sea and on Taraya. Prone to this knowledge or not, it functions much like the one where you were before, although that crystal isn't entirely safe within its cradle, Hudar, but a mere shard of the true wax node, one of two of my own anchors to your realm. The reason why I list powerless and your crystalline companion is one of the prime candidates for its restoration. And as fate permits, your duty of an Umbrian to protect. Trust in me, Drakon. I believe in you, my champion. And Barney, that voice begins to fade, and the wind picks up, and it starts to beat against you, and you feel a slight boon in your presence as well, as you feel your increase in your speed. You feel a bit more light-footed, if you will. For the next 24 hours, you have a +10 to your movement. The purple energy from your symbol granting you this boon, and you sort of look out from your vantage down into the fauna and the rain. Again, oops, drop some. The flames of Lassar at this point have been long extinguished, making it barely visible now on the coastline. But the troubling sight, the distant image of Cresh on the coast, grows a lot more darker than the rest, and above it, the sky begins to swirl ever so slightly. And you see cracks of lightning let across the evening sky as thunder roars, letting out even more lightning rolling across. And one lightning strikes the ground below, sort of off to the side or close by, as the storm actually opens up now and starts to fall heavily.
Ooh.
So yes, a little bit of insight on where you are and the familiarity between this location and the location you had seen before where he had communed with you.
Okay.
And in that as well, appeasing your deity, granting you a boon in the moment for a little bit of increased speed for the day, for the next 24 hours.
Just to clarify the last thing too, because I'm kind of dumb. Uh, when he was saying like he was telling me to make sure I work with I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Uh, Altair.
Yeah.
That's what he just wanted to stay with them and work together. Essentially, is what he was saying.
Yeah, and he was pretty much informing you that the crystalline companion that you have is a prime candidate for the restoration of that crystal. And again, telling you, you're an Umbrian. It's it's your fate, it's your duty, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that he believes in you.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
I'm gonna start asking questions more about this stuff because I'm like, oh, I'll ask the questions later and then I never get to it.
That's okay.
So it's
But yeah, these are all things that are taking place at the same time. But Altair's thing that he started to do with the studying of the Archer node has taken a significantly longer amount of time than you had predicted, which pushes it closer to the evening time, I like 7 p.m. or so, before he snaps out of his vision. So you're kind of left with Bjorn Mumbleman as well, for like an hour or so before you realize, like, okay, Alter's fucking busy. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Okay, do. I'm gonna wander around because I'm bored.
I
Kind of
wanted to
thing.
talk to the dragons if that's possible too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
At some point, doing that.
Let me get through
Yeah.
Mumbleman and Bjorn's thing here, and then we can cut right back to that.
I just wanted to let you know so that you were.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bjorn, you go up to your point and start to scribe your storm rune into the ground. You feel the storm starting to happen. You feel the lightning, and you hear the thunder. Again, that surge in power and energy as your runes flare up. Your vision starts to go a little bit blue as you realize that your innate lightning abilities are starting to increase. And you start to what do you say or do in this moment?
Stand up at this point and look up at the sky in my mind. Say, Father, is it true that Mother lives?
Is the moment you start to think of form and ask the question, you are struck by this massive bolt of, and the last thing you see physically is the ground underneath you as it forces you down, cracking the stone a little bit where the impact happened. And when you begin to refocus from that blinding flash, switch is it? Like I could have swore I had this on here.
You do, but can you find it?
Yeah, sorry. Give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. When you begin to refocus from that blinding flash, you're staring at the stones again underfoot. But when you lift your head and look up, you are amongst that dark realm of the sky once more, Thorm's domain, and you're listing through that very foundation of and fragments of thunder and lightning. Before you is a similar landscape, broken rock platforms held aloft in the darkness. There is lightning constantly blasting and rolling in the distance. The ruins of buildings and hide tents, again, your old home. This time it varies from a very linear approach, and after several leaps, you'll realize that you're going to reach a Y in the road that splits, showing two different potentialities. The one on the left is overgrown in roots and vines, trees, and moss covered structure at the very end that has this wall of glowing magic around. And the other is a barren waste of icy rocks and stone. This direction plummets as you see a number of falling portions of rocks into this realm's darkness again. You see Thorm appear in the distance as this sort of spectral visage that is aloft in the dark sky. Massive, kind of like, sort of like Mufasa, like kind of thing, where you're planted. But his eyes are crackling with this energy, bright blue, almost blinding to look at. But his gaze locks onto you as he begins to speak down to you. My child, you've grown stronger. Power be unto thee to make this choice, for I wish to bestow what I know upon you. I sense your disdain, and I wish to direct that anger appropriately. And I will not have you my animosity fusion, Bjorn. You impress me. Now listen. The choice is yours. As he begins to sort of point in each of the two directions, guidance in the form of what I know and who these corrupted souls are, or the other. Precious memory and insight on your mother, Freya, and what I know before I was stripped of the ability to watch her. You see a flash of the messenger show up within the crackling lightning on the left-hand side, and an image of your mother falling, but locked in place, shows up on the right. Each will be a test of strength and might, Bjorn. To endure such will grant you the answer. Push yourself and overcome, and prove to me what you really are. Son of a god! Just so you know, Dan, you're able to use anything of your abilities at this point. It's not going to affect you back into the material plane. So if you wanted to use things to, increase your strength, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. And to grace you with that, the left-hand picture is here, and this is where it's showing a floating image of the messenger, that moss-covered robed figure that you're kind of familiar with. And again, on this side is a picture of your mother. And she is locked, and again, this portion looks like she's beginning to fall downwards. He has granted you to choose which direction you would like to go, which would grant you insight on the matter that you choose. What would you like to do? Much similar to the ones you had experienced before when you started to have these visions. A lot of these platforms, you can make jumps to get across. These ones aren't so bad to get to the initial portion. And you realize that the path on the left is a lot shorter, but you see a lot of vine-like creatures that have spawned up in there that most likely are going to hinder your progression through there. But the right-hand path, which is Brea path, is this sort of cascading descent of rocks where you will have to make a lot of checks and jumps to get and land safely as you fall down.
Bjorn, want to jump across to this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these first few definitely easily for you to traverse. Pretty much post this point is where checks are going to start to play.
Okay.
But he has left it into your choice on what information you wish to gather on two important entities.
Now, Bjorn's fighting with himself because one part is rage, the other part is emotion.
Perfect.
Bjorn looks down at the ground and says, "Mother, forgive me. But the one who cursed you and caused you to fall shall die." And he goes off towards the messenger.
Okay, so this one you can begin to... there isn't much for strength checks or leap checks here. But what you do notice is the moment you begin to head in that direction, the vines begin to uproot and lift into these flower-headed like creatures with big maws on them that are going to start to try and interject your progression through here. There is a number of them of that just... And then you can see them bobbing and weaving and waiting for you to get closer. Some of them snapping in your direction as you move towards that direction.
Jump up here.
So you choose that direction. The image of your mother begins to fall away into the darkness. And she begins to plummet and fall out of sight. And you hear your name called out by her, not in recognition, but what you may have felt was one of the last words that left her mouth that day as she disappears. And that side, all of the cascading rocks, I can't remove them, but all begin to just plummet into darkness and out of sight. This becomes, on the left-hand side, the prime focus of where you need to go. the image of the messenger moves to the top portion of that structure at the very end. But you do begin to come here. The vines begin to lash out. They have quite the reach at them as well, and begin to pull back, some lash 10 feet out, and begin to chomp at you as you move into this portion. What would you like to do?
Well, with all this confounded rage that I have acted on, I will obviously use Giant Smite.
Okay.
So I'm now large.
Yeah.
And I will pull out my longbow and shoot this guy.
Okay, awesome. Are you going to stay at a range out of reach of these creatures?
Yeah, I'm an archer.
Yeah, no, okay, no, I didn't know if it was like, okay, I'm gonna mad dash, whatever you do. So yeah, you're gonna start picking away. What you do, start shooting at all of them. 18 definitely hits, and you do start to one by one this first section clear out all of the foes within your path.
Bad sprint, land.
The moment you land on that portion and begin to shoot, go ahead and make some attack rolls. The heads of these ones turn to meet you, and you can see they're almost like if they had to describe cheeks, they begin to bloat up and start to spit out spikes in your direction as well. The three of them here are going to make attacks against you. 12 to hit, 17 to hit, and an 11 to hit.
17 hits.
17 hits? Okay, so you take 9 points of piercing damage as that one sinks into you. One of them, 2 of them whiz by, no problem. 21 and 11 takes one of them out. Awesome, so that's down. So you can go ahead and make more attacks if you so choose, but you can tell that these ones are learning, adapting, and attacking back at a distance.
I'm going to use my reaction to use Stone's Endurance.
Okay.
So I'll roll a d12. I
Damn.
don't take any damage.
You don't take any damage from that, but okay, so it's back to you. These ones, again, look like they're getting ready to re-up once more to begin to spit more at you. 14 hits, that's another one down. The last one here is going to make another attack against you. 14, I don't think hits.
Misses.
So boom, you can progress further with that. Another attack landing true. You hear, yes. The last section here, these ones are a bit bigger and slightly different. You move up to here. What would you like to do?
I will shoot that one.
Okay. 13 hits. This one hits you. Now, this one here doesn't surge up to range, but what it does instead is you see it extend further out of the ground, and it is going to try and actually hit you here from this point. Increases a little bit of that. 22 to hit.
That hits.
So surprisingly, this one lashes out and hits you, and you are currently restrained, and it picks you up off the ground about 10 or so feet. You are currently wrapped up by one, and the one in the back here is going to do the same. It's going to try and hit you, like bite onto you and restrain you as well. 18 to hit.
18 hits.
Okay, so sorry, I forgot to roll damage from that first one. That's 12 points of damage from the first, and then, 13 points from the second one.
I'm going to use my last thing as Stone's Endurance.
Okay, awesome.
On
So the
the
first one was
roll.
Yep.
Plus my
5
con
points.
modifier.
Oh, plus con, yeah.
So 10.
And so you take 2, so you take 15 points total at this point. And what you currently have 2 of these vines wrapped around, like one up on your torso to hoist you up, and the other one is trying to cinch your legs closed. It's back to you again in this moment, but what you notice immediately is this sort of spectral visage of the messenger turns to look at you. That the burning eyes and the sockets of the blackened robe, but it's now gazing upon you as you're very close to the very end of this portion. But you're up. What would you like to do? You can try to break free or
They don't.
attack from where you are.
I can't really attack if I'm restrained.
I would be at disadvantage technically, but that's flavor for you. Or you do have advantage to try and break out as your current in your giant form. You have an advantage on strength check.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll try to rip out.
Okay.
Strength check, you said?
With advantage, yes. Awesome. This obviously doesn't matter. The one that had grappled you around the body, you almost sort of flex, and you hear, "Yes, prove to me!" As you just release this burst of lightning energy, it chars the vines off of you completely. Both of them breaking their grasp on you as you slam to the ground. What would you do now?
They're both still up, right?
Yeah.
At this point, you would actually hear me sit there, and I'd look at one of them and just go, say Stein. It's a stone and rune and giant. And I'm using my stone rune on it.
Okay. Is that the one? Okay.
So you gotta be within 30 feet of me.
Oh, they
And
are.
it has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh,
DC's 13.
okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Oh, sorry, I did the automatic thing. Not what I'm supposed to. Inline? No. Oh, please don't do this again.
You've got some sort of
Uh-oh.
weird setup in your rolling bar.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. Either way, the first one is a natural 20, so it would break free. That the wisdom influence doesn't work on it. But does it still take anything, or what were you trying to do with it? You were
Oh,
trying to charm it?
I was just gonna make it stay there so I could kill the other one.
Oh, okay. That attempt does not take in the moment. The other one from the side, you see its cheeks puff out again as it's going to try and blast spikes into you. 15 to hit.
15 just hits.
Hits. You take 7 points of piercing damage. The other one is recoiling from trying to see. You can see it wriggling. But it is again up to you with what you like to do here.
As a bonus action, I'm gonna use Second Wind.
Okay.
3 plus fighter level, so I get 7 back.
Okay.
And then I am going to shoot at this one.
Okay. Natural 1. So what you see is when you draw back on your bow, you start to feel this surge of lightning energy, and it confuses you to the point where you just let your shot go, and it goes wide off into the darkness, and you hear this audible, not sigh, kind of like guttural groan from Thorm as he watches you. They're both going to spit at you.
I'm gonna pop action surge right quick
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
and take another shot at him.
Hell yeah. So when you roll a d6. Extra. So as soon as you let that arrow out, it becomes covered in this rolling bit of lightning that adds a little bit extra lightning as a boon moment. This one, almost like a crack of lightning hits it, it blasts away. The other one hits you with a 19 though, and that is 8 points of damage. But it is back to you.
I'll bow out, take another shot at it.
Okay, awesome, sick. All right, and with that, you fell the last imposing creature upon you before you reach the top of this. Now, the spectral image of the messenger still rests atop of that structure, but you feel that there is this magical wall before this structure that you might have to pass through or something. But the closer you get to it, the more ethereal the messenger becomes, And the moment you do eventually pass through it, it disappears. And you are locked in this sort of moment of vision, I guess you can say. You hear Thorm from the top, crackle of energy as he snaps his fingers, and the vision is granted as such. You begin to watch the fall of a major society. A series of mages fight against this ever-encroaching wave of vines and bramble that is just severing hordes of people in its wake. Atop different ornate buildings, highly decorated establishments, these mages take flight and begin to fight against the destruction caused by the. You see fleeing civilians and knights trying to guard them before they're cinched together and just splattered across the walls and the ground. But these powerful ones survive and burn through the overgrowth with strong magical force. Time begins to go by, and slowly over time they all begin to fall. Several mages take flight, protecting airships and boats that are leaving the harbor, and you make out signs on some of the stores and business fronts. This is Locarius. You see an elven man with his family running, pouring rain, quenching some of the flames on some of these burning houses. He clutches a younger elven girl by her wrist and is running, trying to reach a boat or an airship, but he can't. He steps out with his family onto this platform where he just teleports across to a different portion of the dock and then finds one. At success, you see elation. He smiles to his family and forces them onto that ship, but he realizes he doesn't have room for himself. This ship begins to list and wander from its mooring. He steps back and is greeted with this flash of vines that come up, and he reaches into his pocket and starts splashing vials of acid on them. They start to burn away and retract, and then mages appear overhead, beginning to just scorch bramble with flaming hands, telling this man to run away or get onto this overloaded ship, which he does. He looks back at his family as he shoots across onto another legend platform, seeing them across the way on the other side. He's trying to force his way through crowds to meet them, but that's when explosions blast in streets. Vines pierce up through the ground and start chaos again, very familiar to what you've seen before. A pure form of wrath queen. Eventually, these mages all fall. Some fleeing, others just falling quickly, but the aftermath of all of this is quiet. And looming, whirling darkness overhead of this massive elven capital. Beneath the bodies of these elite mages that fought that day, the ichor of the queen oozes from its vine. White, milky sap pouring forth from these cut and burned portions of the roots that make their way over to the corpses of these worthy elite. Vines start to pierce up through the dead skin, and you watch their eyes shoot open, glazed white, and begin to focus on the tree. All of the robes that they once worn start to now turn moss-covered, and their mantles covered in overgrowth. You bear witness to the birth of the messenger. And yes, it's messengers plural. As you watch several of them, 4, 5, 6 of them stand up and crack their necks and arm back in agony, sort of reviving from the essence of the queen. And much like with Freya, some of them try to break for it, but they can't sort of force past the influence that it has over them. They eventually turn to one another and start to walk as they're going to meet in a circle. And what happens instead is they meet into one. It's like watching mirror image or blur sort of cast some of them. These entities are comprised of more than just one being, and it is now taller, and that robed figure begins muttering and whispering towards the direction of the queen. And before it turns on its feet and begins to walk straight into one of the large protruding vines, and you are now sort of back in that darkness expanse, floating before Thorm up in I guess the darkness, crackling lightning all the way across. I ask, my child, No, my son, Bjorn. You must act against these cursed spawn of Melora. Excuse me. They are trying to stop events from unfolding, even in their state of unrest, enacting retribution for the one you call the Queen. Stop them and find your mother. You will be the first to know when I learn anything, and I will beckon you to reveal such knowledge arrive. Now use your strength to crush and scorch them with your surgeon power, Bjorn, harbinger of lightning incarnate. And Bjorn, you begin to float up, still within this domain. The words of him running through your mind as Thorm sort of still holds you aloft, using tethers of lightning that are surging into you now. Just you feel it starting to shake in your body, your runes flaring, your eyes flaring. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw, please, with advantage, because you are still in your giant's form. 15. Fucking nice. 15 to 20. Okay. Bjorn, you start to wake up on the ground outside the somewhat on that top portion where you were. And the moment you realize that you're back to normal, you hear this crack of thunder that is starting to glow underneath some of the portions of the crystals up there. What would you like to
I'm gonna go check it out.
do? Okay, so when you go over and check it out, you are fucking boom, immediately hit by lightning. Map back. But you have been granted a boon, which I will tell you about in a very short second. But yes, moving over to this portion here where the lightning or the glowing was taking place, you move over and instinctually you are boom blasted with lightning in this moment. You take a little bit of damage from it. 10 points of lightning damage.
This is
But
damage from his current state, not from the dream state, right?
this is real life damage.
Yeah.
I mean, what you have done in this moment has taken the blow, which would have inadvertently destroyed this crystal, probably.
So, does my health go back to what it was?
Yeah, so you're back to normal. Like that
Okay.
vision instance wasn't something that affected you in reality, but that 10 points of lightning damage does as you put yourself between that lightning strike and that crystal. But
Okay.
since you rolled a 15, for the next 24 hours, you have an additional use of Second Wind and Giant's Might.
Nice.
Okay. Mumble Man,
Yes.
back to you.
Okay. In this blank state that Mama Man's not used to being in, where he's not thinking at all, he's normally got constant thoughts and stuff going through his head, he feels a sensation he's never felt before, and he taps into Arcana and tries using it to open the book in front of him.
What are you trying to... Like, you're surging your power into the book?
Unintentionally, yeah, like kind of like wild magic. Just trying to brute force it with Arcana that I've
Okay,
never used before.
I like that. Go ahead and roll a D100. Okay, it's above a 50. I was going to say that as a threshold. The moment you begin to focus your Arcana on the book, and you're channeling something, again, that you've either haven't channeled in, like, forever, or for the first
Yeah.
but when you do, it starts to flash up Arcanodoros on the front of it, brighter than anything else.
I will speak the words aloud.
And when you do, the book releases the arcane lock on it and strews the contents from within. And that would have happened in time prior to these visions taking place, giving you enough time to study through the number of, I guess, dusty old pieces of documents that have been compiled into this sort of like Duotang, but file. There are archivist translations in here and notes on findings. that you begin to sift through. But there are a lot of it in here, since you inherently speak Elven, that you don't need translations for, especially information on names, places, and contraptions, and it begins to spark memory as you begin to read through a lot of it. The devices that your brother Zelfar and others from within the Bureau of Mages, called the Paramecians, had created. Zelfar was part of a sector named the Arcanodoris that utilized the energy and arcana that is trapped within the crystals that could be found all over the continent of Hadar and turned them into this magical fuel for incantation. And that's your homeland. You have the revelation of history lost time. Throne is Hadar. Fool. You see other names like Gilana, Arluxia, and you remember them. Arluxia's Brahari's dark purple hair and eyes, very strong and focused, but she could never complete a task to save her life. Gilana Eltrazine's pure white hair and beautiful smile, very skilled in her field, but completely unobtainable. And you even remember trying at one point in your previous life, but were shut down due to your status outside of the Arcana, which then makes you think of your wife and your family. It makes you remember that fateful day, the Queen lashing out and destroying everything you knew. But what it also does is it reminds you of old recipes that you were working on. Stronger remedies, stronger acids, and it flashes in your mind like very quickly on how you can bolster your acid splash trip with the utilization of different methods by extracting Urwords and adding it to the base of the acid as a catalyst. Meaning, if you have Urworg extract on you, your acid splash cantrip damage increases to a D8. It continues on. It speaks of the crystalline circle in certain parts. A Lemurian named Aquila. Something you never really focused on much, though, but the thought of it sort of triggers Tularan and the worshippers from way back in the day, and even Altair now with where you are. And holy shit, time has a way of turning its back on you, sort of leaves you in the dark, especially if you're able to suppress the memories of torture. The other images are of devices and blueprints within, and your intelligent mind starts to realize what you're looking at, and it is one of Zelfar's creation to extract the essence directly from a crystal, and it shows the fundamentals on their operation, and then it hits you like right after you see it. That contraption that you found yesterday at the beginning of the day sort of bears very similar construction and design, albeit larger. You found one over here, preserved in a chamber, and most likely on the verge of being used to destroy another crystal held within that focal point of its lens. And you know that firsthand that it isn't good, and it never has. You realize now, as you're sort of studying through, that the rain has gotten quite out of hand, and that crack of lightning nearby shakes you from reading, and leaves you in the moment as you realize that strike took place like right close.
I
But
instantly close the book
okay,
and put it away in a protective area where it's not going to get wet,
okay.
and start looking around because it feels like lightning struck close, and I want to make sure nobody actually got hurt.
And when you close that book, that arcane lock enchantment retakes back over the book.
Okay.
But now that everyone's appropriate visions have concluded, everyone's taken in what they've learned and what's going on around them. Altair, again, you return to your senses as you see Vega emerge from a side chamber and rushes over to you. Barney, you have the realization again that some time has passed and that you were the only person to notice the looming darkness over the distances growing over Cresh. Bjorn, you inadvertently take a strike of lightning and protect Crystal atop of this area and gain a boon in power, as well as some insight on the origination of the messengers. And Mumbleman, you think back to whether memory is good or bad, but you take in some newfound information and a small boon to your alchemy as well.
Yeah.
And we will cut back to where Barney wanted to speak with Vega. Bjorn is outside. Altair is locked in this point. Naka starts to do things, but this is Barney where you, Vega kind of is watching you. After Vega realizes that Altair is trapped in vision and can't speak with him, he stops talking to him. See him kind of murmur to himself a little bit. And then starts to look towards you.
I'll step up to him and go, "Oh, hello.
Yes, hello.
My name's Barney. I figured I should introduce myself, considering my god always said something about us being like our religions being related. Uh, Yanix
Uh,
is my god,
well, hello.
and
I am Starshare Vega. I am the main proprietor seer node that we protect. Thank you for guiding Altair to this presence. And what do you mean by your god has spoken? Our direct relation? Are you saying you're
Mm,
an Umbrian?
yeah,
And he seems to squint at you, like kind of like
I
not
I
like
guess so.
fascinated.
I didn't want to like if I felt weird calling myself one, you know. I'm like, who am I to make that decision?
I see.
But
So you spoke with Yannick then?
yeah, and I just figured I should introduce myself, considering there's not a lot of us, and
Yes, and you can see him. He's
apparently
like
we're on the
having.
same side.
He has that revelation pretty quickly, and he's like, "Haven't heard that terminology in a long time. Surprised to see someone of your kind here. A welcome sight. Don't get me wrong.
I just wanted to introduce myself, and and if you had any information about anything relating to Yanix, if you could pass it on my way, that'd be great, because I
Well,
don't know what you mean. Wink.
it's been a long time since I've actually read or heard the terminology of Umbrians myself. We don't entirely possess a vast amount of knowledge pertaining to that or their origination. But I know that, several hundred years ago, even before my time, your clan was wiped out. And the relation between us and you was quite strong, utilizing the Umbrians' protection for the pilgrimages of our seers and the Lemurian themselves, along with protecting key node points across Taraya.
Thank you. I didn't even know some of that.
Again, it's quite vague with what I do know. And you have me quite intrigued with this revelation again, so it caused me to shift my studies slightly in my downtime. It's just, with what has been returned to us today, and what Altair peers through at this moment, it really consumed all of our free time, what the visions from it are granting, which to us is quite troubling. It might be, I don't want to say, it might not be your place to know per se, but the regions things have been going awry in the realm lately.
Oh,
When Altair comes out of their vision, wish to compare with what I've seen to what they've seen. And if it does align, I would ask you make sure that Altair is defended and protected while he makes his way back home to relay the information to his superior. Because it is quite important, it's paramount that this information is revealed to Sirius.
sounds good to me. That's great. I've been so stressed about what to do. I just like we know something was stolen, and I'm like, oh, well, we need to do something about this. But actual
Yeah,
information, oh,
part of what we do as the Crystalline Circle is we try to perceive these visions granted through any portion of crystal or constellations in the sky that we're able to translate. Now, we have several people read and study these visions in unison. That way, when one opinion differentiates, whether it be a game of telephone or a lie, we're able to wade out that misinformation. So that if any more than 2 or 3 share the same vision, know that that is most likely what it is trying to grant, albeit typically cryptic in their description. And whether it be a vision from Melora or a vision from the nodes themselves, it's our duty to decipher these messages. So it may come at face value, seeing something as simple as a dog walking across a field. But who is that dog and where is that field are the questions that we search for.
Arnie like nods. He's like, ah.
I see that this is going over. Essentially what we do, translate cryptic messages locked within the visions of these crystals and make sure that the truth is spoken and recorded so we can figure out the alignments and projections from the constellations in the sky.
Arnie like kind of thinks back to Altair always wanting to like touch the crystals, and he's like, ah, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know how much longer Altair is going to be locked in focus. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it takes hours. But again, as the night grows, you're more than welcome to stay here, but that is up to you. I know you were having to tend to your duties elsewhere.
Yeah, we got a lot of people to move around and try to help. So
You can see him focus out over the half portion of the collapsed wall. This is where you're able to see that looming darkness over Cresh. And he starts to like rub his chin, excuse me, sort of nod back and forth a bit. The weather grows treacherous over there.
I'll turn and look at it and like, and then I'll be like, step up to him and be like, well, it's very nice to meet you.
You as well.
And I'll put my hand out for a handshake.
And he grasps it very respectfully. I know this is supposed to be a very important person here, but it's almost like this recognition of who you are. And he like shakes your hand, but also clasps his other hand over it as well. And sort of, he's a lot taller than you as well. And he sort of bows to your level a bit and to really, truly to greet you and thank you.
I'll try to like I'll be like a guy shaking a Japanese person's hand who bows to him, and he's like, oh yeah. I'll do a little bow to him, put my other hand
Yeah.
over his.
It was an honor to meet you, Barney.
You as well. If I don't see you before we have to leave, I'll hopefully I can return and share any information I have, or
Of course,
speak
of
again.
course. I will await Altair's re-arrival. And you start to
Head
head off.
inside, go check out those clouds. Cause I'm a little spooked.
Okay, so Barney begins to head outside. Bjorn, you have been struck by lightning, and this is where Gren Mumbleman, you have closed your book to protect its contents and tried to figure out what happened outside.
Do you want to take your break now, or?
I got a little bit more time. I figured I'm conscious of what time it is.
Barney will have looked up and seen
coughing.
Bjorn then, with being struck by lightning, and he'll just go, guys, the son of a god knows he's gonna struck by lightning all the time.
So what? Is that like a family dispute, or what?
What? No. Believe it or not, that was actually a blessing from my father.
Oh,
Oh.
if that's a blessing, I'd hate to be on his bad side.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be rough.
I pass over my last healing salve of the day. Remember, spread this, don't drink it.
And just kind of dump it on my head and start rubbing it into my bald head.
Oh, Bjorn, I forgot. There's also, you add 1d6 lightning attacks. that.
I'll get plus 1d6 for 24
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, also you guys notice Bjorn's runes on his body are flaring a bit brighter than normal as well.
There's like
As
lightning
I
crackling
gave
from
him-
my eyes a little bit.
Yeah. As I gave him the healing salve, I got a shock and I pulled my hand back and go, ow.
The rain extinguishes part of the bonfire that was here, as again it's starting to rain pretty heavily now. Two of the golems have moved up to where you were, Bjorn, and start to like bob and look at the crystals where you were. And they kind of quickly ascertain that nothing has transpired to them or happened to them. They begin to sort of mosey on back down. But yeah, you did good. You did good.
Barney's gonna notice again the smoke after this like quick exchange that he was laughing at, and he's gonna, guys, we might have a problem, and I'll point toward the smoke in the distance
Is it actual
and
smoke?
the swirling, or then the swirling clouds. Wait, was it smoke or was it just darkening over there?
It was a lot darker, and the sky was beginning to swirl. This would probably be now the third time that you've seen this happen, once in Beauvert and again at Lucer, and it is now starting to focus now that you've pointed it out to Bjorn and Mumbleman. You can see where it has completely stopped doing that at the ruins of Lucer now. You can still see a little bit of orange light coming from the flames that were of the burning buildings in Lucer, but it's starting to die down. It's not quite dark out, but it is getting like evening at this point, probably 7 or so p.m. I would put it at. But what you do notice is following the coast along above the coastal town of Cresh, which you're able to barely make out, it is darker and it is beginning to swirl overhead.
How long did it take us to travel from Cresh to here?
It was, since you had used the Longstrider scroll on the oxen the first time, from Cresh to Lucer was 1 hour. And then it was 1 hour from Lucer to here.
Okay. Oh, Lucer is the, was,
Where you rescued Namari and fought that fire tree creature.
okay, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I'll let you guys stew on that. We'll take break now. I'll go put Danny to bed, and we'll pick right back up. If that's okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'll be right back myself. I'm gonna use the bathroom.
Yeah, I also need
Snack.
to do that. Yeah.
Hello. Well, hello there.
I'm back. Okay. It was a bit longer than I expected. My apologies. All right. Well, we're back to normality. Sorry to bore you all with visions and shit like that, but
We're putting up with it because you're so dull and boring as a DM.
I thought so.
Oh, that was good though.
I like it. I don't like getting hit by lightning all the time, but I like it.
Usually I'm portraying that part as like that's what, that's the beginning of your communion. But in this case, this was meant to be like, there's usually some sort of reactionary thing when you come out of it. And to be fair, you putting yourself over there by going to check it stopped destruction of a crystal, which would have caused some issues, I guess, quote unquote.
You destroyed a crystal. Golems attack you. Fuck.
We did no such thing. He just happened to be in the vicinity when the crystal got.
I was thinking with your dream of while it was storming, don't blow up this house. Don't blow up this house. Don't blow
yeah.
Yeah. Sure, you burned down my house. In this place, you intercede and don't even break a crystal.
He took Altair's warning to heart.
Burn down your house.
Mama Man's gonna have to invent the lightning rod.
You have one. It's called Bjorn.
I have a new helmet for you, Bjorn. It's got a spike that's 4 feet tall. Alrighty,
Bjorn
so
gets struck by lightning while he goes, and but yeah, I'm ready to jump back into it if you guys are good to go.
yeah.
Okay. Yes, Barney, you have left this premises.
Mhm.
Yeah, the premises. Yes. Um. So, we now cut back with Bjorn, Mobile Man, and Barney having the realization pointing out over Cresh that shit's going down. But Altair, you come out of your vision now again. Naka rushing to whip Vega. At this point, you realize time has gone by, but Vega does re-emerge at this point, coming back in. Ah, yes. Well, Lemurian to be. Concerning, is it not? I feel this kind of information must be relayed to Sirius, as it is quite important.
Yes, it's looking that way.
I hope he isn't opposed to the idea of potentially having his scopes and lenses calibrated, or re-enchanted by Reuben to truly benefit from the visions to be seen.
It would.
It
It's very useful on the map.
might take some convincing on your part to have that done. Again, we were in dire straits having someone with the capabilities of re-enchanting these scopes. But I believe that the practice of our circle not bear the same level of enchantment that can be granted by others.
Yes. How did you spell the names? It's SOL, I'm guessing for soul.
Yep.
Yanix?
Yanix is Yanex.
A-N-X. And then Taraya?
Yep. Terraria is like the campaign setting.
Okay.
So, like Terraria.
Yes. Okay.
Do you know what a syzygy is?
You said it was like a line of.
Yeah, it's when three celestial entities meet in a line. So what that pretty much is saying is that since Yonix has come in the way of Terraria, it's creating a lunar eclipse, which is essentially pissing off the tree. But whatever caused this lunar eclipse to happen seems to source ping those two nodes that are on throne.
So I thought it said on the island with the queen, but I'm not seeing any nodes on there.
You are correct.
Because they haven't been placed on the map because we have to find them.
That went right over my head.
Okay.
Or the discussion take place between all of you and your corresponding visions.
And we can narrow
To
it
sort
down.
of to figure out maybe, but again, more will come if it.
And we do know that one of the nodes is in the north, and the other is in the. Sorry, not we. You know that one of the nodes is in the north, and another one is in the central west areas.
Sounds good. I was trying to catch all that and write it down, but
And you
I
can
know it's kind of hard to focus if I'm carrying on too quickly, but I get excited sometimes and start spewing off information rapidly.
and that's
also doesn't help my reading comprehension is like a second grade level. So I'm just like, what'd you
What I
say
can
again?
do is I
I'm just
can type out a little bit of it to you so you can actually read it.
and
I
there's the
can
video
watch
to go back
the
to as well.
video. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. That's theirs. But
Because
yeah, I was trying. I find I go too quickly sometimes, which then kind of, if you miss one thing, then you're playing catch up the whole time.
a little bit. I was typing away while you're doing everybody's things, and yeah, there's stuff I've missed, but I hit what I thought was important to me, and then I will go back to the video, and if I have to replay that section 3 or 4 times, I will. And then I have to separate what I know versus what they know.
Yeah.
And like I knew, for instance, that book, I knew you had a reference in the handouts, but I haven't read that yet, so I did a
Yeah.
little bit of that or skimmed through it on the break.
Yeah.
So that answered some of my questions and stuff too.
Yeah. That's why I started to break down a little bit of what was in that book, a little bit expanded,
Yeah.
but not entirely verbatim with what was written down. Yes. Sorry, but yeah, Vega can. Remember, Altair, that you're always welcome here. It does grow late. We wish to reside here until Sol shines light upon us on a new dawn.
Um, I would have to talk to my friends and see what they think.
Okay, well, just remember that you do honor us with your presence here. And if you choose to press on, just be wary of the forest. It grows cruel after dark.
Thank you. Um, would you guys happen to have a spare shield of some sort? Um, I feel like it would help protect myself with the queen getting a little restless.
I'm sure that can be presented to you. And he looks over to Naka. She's like, right away, I will go search. I'll search underneath the temple. 1 second, 1 second. And she starts to rush off a little bit with pace behind the steps.
Oh, and I guess I walk by, head out. But while I head out, I just like glance over and see what like those books are about.
You can see some older bark-covered tomes here. A little bit familiar to you. You've seen similar ones the way that they're kept back at your home. But these ones are slightly different. None of them are currently open. They don't have titles on them or anything like that. They are just really, really old books here.
Okay.
A lot of that actually is historical reference, calibration procedure, and notes taken on some of the node's visions that we have been granted over time. In fact, he picks this one up here. May you present this book to Sirius if you do return home. It is a compilation of several visions that I have had through the Archer node itself. I wish to relay again with what I found here to our superior for him to study.
I can deliver that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Then I will start heading out.
Okay. You meet Naka in that hallway, that sort of chilly stone hallway that you pass through to get here, and she emerges sort of like from the little side portion. You almost sort of bump into each other, actually. She's like, oh, and you can see she has like this thick barked, hide covered shield. It's not the highest of quality. It's not made of metal. but it is definitely a shield, almost like you would like those African style shields that you see, like the really tough wrapped leather and bark integrated into it. It would act as a like a generic shield, although its durability might not be the highest qualities.
Okay, sounds good.
This is what I can muster. I don't have access to anything, much like what your friends are carrying, but this is at least something that we can grant you. And Vega sort of emerges to sort of walk and greet you out. Of course, yes, anything that's within the basement, definitely take to use. We don't possess extremely durable components. A lot of these have been handmade. But you're welcome to take that along the journey if it so serves you well.
Yes, it will help very much to at least get to where I need to go. I guess kind of an out of game question. At all during this time, would it have been enough for a short rest?
I would say yes, especially for everyone else too. You've been locked in focus on that, which isn't really taking much. I would definitely say short rest appropriate for everyone. And you can see now Naka and Vega are sort of like not ushering, but are looking dressed through this sort of narrow passageway. And that sort of, you've been granted this leather hide shield, which again is like a basic shield +2. Again, lower than normal durability, but it is definitely useful to you. And you get out and you can see the moment you emerge onto the exterior of the temple, Naka moving aside, Vega standing behind you. You can see Barney, Bjorn, and Mumbleman are sort of standing there, gazing over the edge of the balcony and the high vantage point, and looking off into the distance.
I guess, do I see what they're looking at?
It takes you a little bit before you're like, okay, what are they looking at? They look, oh, yes, getting quite dark, shitty looking. It's raining out here, and there is this swirling darkness over Cresh at quite the distance from where you are, obviously, but it's visible up this high.
That doesn't look too good.
Everyone now hears Altair emerge along with the other two as he says that.
And I tell Vega, like I guess I do whatever we do. I shake his hand and say, "I'm." It kind of looks like we might need to go. So, so I like shake his hand and then I walk over to the group.
Of course. Again, you honor us with your presence, Altair. Shame you couldn't stay to study longer with us, but I understand the hastiness if you wish to leave.
Thank
I'll
you.
start noticing that all the runes that are kind of on my skin, there's like lightning jumping in between the runes, just because I'm like pretty much power surged for 24 hours.
Every once
Yeah.
in a while, Mumble Man gets too close and gets shocked and he goes, ow, and he steps away again. But he keeps forgetting.
I guess I say, how long has this been going on?
For you guys, besides Altair, definitely.
How long did you say? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, how long?
It'd be a couple hours.
It's been going on for a couple hours?
Yeah. Like, it's taken Altair a long time to process that vision that he had, longer than your interactions and what you had. You had a lot of free time up here, the three of you.
Have we seen anything fall from the throne yet?
You have noticed nothing that has fallen, other than, again, it's just the early stages of the clouds beginning to gather and circle. It's not that roaring, whirling dervish overhead at this point, but it's the early stages of that.
And do we have an estimate from our past two experiences on how long it takes to go from A to B?
Usually, when that happens, the incantation has passed, and it's not usually long thereafter with whatever form of destruction follows, whether it be creatures, whether it be a glowing red seed that plummets from the sky out of the branches. It's this one hasn't had anything like that you can see at this distance.
Okay.
I guess I kind of have a logistical question. Since, if I had to guess, we're not getting a long rest, do we get anything from our upgrade, like our level up, other than the hit points? Like,
If you gain spell slots from that increase, then you have those spell slots.
okay.
Um,
Um,
and again, like anyone who's I guess proficiency doesn't change, but yeah, any of the abilities or spell slots that you would gain from growing that level would come to you, as well as your increase in health.
okay.
But as far as restoring everything lost to this point, isn't quite there yet.
And then would I get access to, since I was able to learn an extra cantrip, would I get access to that, or would I need to wait until?
I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay. Um, that is me then. That's all. Okay. I think that was all the questions I had.
Okay. Does look like quite the storm is afoot. Again, to you all, I warned Alton. The forest becomes quite cruel after dark, so be careful where you trudge and where you step.
That's no storm. That's the throne getting angry and about to drop destruction upon Cresh.
We seen something much similar not too long ago with one of the other settlements called Lucer.
Bjorn looks over. We were there.
And Lucer is no more.
And you can see like an immediate change in demeanor from them, like shock, sort of like like what? What do you mean?
It was attacked and took heavy damage, and then it was burned to the ground by a demon-like force that we were able to defeat at great cost.
Gosh,
I say yes, yes, yes. I don't mean to be rude, but we should go.
of course. I mean, I wish not to hold you. So yes,
Takes
yeah.
off.
Take care. It was a pleasure to meet you. As you just and like
Yeah, Altair just runs off. Whoever's behind him gets a full moon because he just has basically a
Alright.
loincloth on and a
As
fucking,
Barney says, stay safe as he leaves, and he'll turn and
he
wink to the
nods.
Lady Dragonborn
Yeah,
as he.
they kind of like see you off, I guess you can say, on the teleportation sigil. You get to the bottom where you can see Namari has detached the oxen from the cart. The oxen is eating. You can see him, he's petting it while it's eating. He's like, you're back. Hello.
Who was
The oxen was quite startled from the sudden arrival of thunder and lightning. It began to shake and rattle the cart quite heavily. I brought it over here to soothe its anger.
I'd like to cast guidance on myself and I guess see if I could make like an animal handling check to hastily get the oxen and attach it back to the cart without startling it too much.
Okay, absolutely.
Help get the oxen hooked up.
Well, he's
Okay, so you
doing
can.
that, and they're doing that. I will use my last spell slot to create an elixir.
Eh,
So
15.
15. So yeah, you do so. It seems a little bit hesitant at first because it really liked what it was eating, but it does
Valid.
give over and start to move over. He's like, is there a problem? See you
Uh,
Yes.
hasting your
Master
step.
Cresh is in danger. We have to get back.
How do you know?
I'll look
See
at
it
the
from up
sky.
top.
When you get down here, due to the sheer growth of the forest and around, the sky and horizon isn't as broad as once seen, so it isn't quite as visible down here yet. You most likely have to reach certain clearings to be able to see that far past, ridge lines and mountains and overgrowth. But, where you were, you definitely got a clear sight of it so high up in the sky. Well, it's not that I don't believe you, but if you wish to make haste, then I am ready to go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay, so
Get
this
in.
is going to be a little startling to Ferdinand. And we're probably going to want our best driver because Ferdinand's, well, Bjorn, you might have to force feed him this, but it'll make him quick just like that scroll did. And I pass over an elixir of swiftness, which gives him 10 feet additional for 1 hour.
Okay.
Kind of like Nicholas knows it where he looks up and kind of bloop.
Yeah. You like dangle your hand above its head, sort of like tricking a dog sort of thing, and it looks up and like starts to, it almost hits like the way it's like 6-horned head just almost hits you like looking up like that, but it does, and then you pour the elixir in its mouth, and it's like kind of like tries to push back. It can't go anywhere because it's hooked up to the cart. As Altair now grabs the reins, is sitting there ready.
Is there room for 2 people up front on the cart?
Definitely.
Alright, I'll sit up front with Altair. Then.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's the same one that Bjorn had. But because I used the spell slot, I get to actually choose it.
Okay.
As everyone loads on, Altair does a high, yeah, better than he's ever done it before. He's ready to go.
Namari sort of is like, I noticed a sudden change in the weather after that crack of lightning, pouring quite heavily. Keep your wits about you, everyone. We will try to study the sides, prevent ambush. And you begin to, yeah, indeed, and start to head off down the trail where you had once been. You can see the golems glow slightly different in the rain, actually sort of accentuating some of the internal glow of their crystal. But traversal in the pouring rain is going to make things a little bit more difficult just to see through the thick growth and this once desert has turned into. The downpour has soaked a lot of you through now at this point as well, moving on. And seeing anything out past 20, 30 feet is becoming a little bit difficult. But the path is pretty fresh from where you had traveled earlier, and Namari as well has sort of taken point on, perceiving and checking ahead while you go. The oxen begins to trudge along through the mud, dragging the cart through, ever vigilant. You see a few different points during your rush travel that they struggle to pull through some of the ruts that have filled up with water, really having to dig deep to get the cart back on track. And Altair and Barney are sort of sitting on the front of this cart, and you watch as the cart stops, as you sort of fall into that rut again, but the oxen does not. As you hear a small faint creak of the wood and metal of that lock connection finally giving way from wear and tear.
Can I do something really stupid?
Oh!
Yes.
Misty step onto the ox.
Okay.
And I will try and use animal handling to slow him down / control him, stop him.
Odd or even?
The odds are forever in my favor.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, you teleport onto its back, and it doesn't startle it entirely, but it kind of stops it for a second. And you realize that the connection between the cart and the oxen is broken at this point. But what you do realize is you'll have to find a way to fix this connection, but you remember that this isn't your guild cart. Repair kit that you had was fastened to the inside of that cart.
Okay. Can we try mending it?
Of course you can. So give me a quick Arcana check.
I'd like to assist with my mending as well.
Okay, so are you both going to pump mending into this connection?
Sure.
So Mumbleman can make his Arcana check with advantage because of that. As Altair and Mumbleman, you pull the cart up, you start to fucking nice. You start to flash, you're mending into it, and it repairs it. You know it's not going to be full strength again, but it is at least mended in this moment. And with a 21, it's definitely not your shittiest work you've ever done.
Okay.
But you get back on track with that.
Using my tinkerer's tools and a little bit of ingenuity, can I wrap like a rope around it, get it some extra layer of strength?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you wish to do to try and bolster its strength is definitely welcome. But yeah, you feel pretty confident with your mending check that it did return it somewhat to normal. But you've always known things to become a little bit more brittle after they've been used like that.
Yeah.
But so in that, you take the rope and braid it and wrap it around and knot it up real tight to sort of create that cinch tight on it.
And in fact,
Um,
I'll use my alchemy skills to add some sort of ointment slash liquid that'll saturate the rope and get it to like bind down tighter, so it
Okay.
won't slip.
Awesome.
And
Your efforts in that doesn't take you too long. It kills probably 5-10 minutes because of how hastily you did address the issue. But it gets you back on track. About 45 minutes pass. No, I'd say about half an hour pass. With the increase of the speed from the oxen, you start to reach loose air again. Um, yeah, yeah. Avoidable mostly as you can pretty much bypass it by sticking to the trail, but you do see steam rolling from over the walls. Slight gaze through the broken walls and the wide open gates as you pass by sort of grants the quick details as you move by. The houses and buildings that were ablaze have come to the flame, and the smoldering remains steaming pretty heavily just from the rain, has smothered a lot of that out. All of the bodies still lay lifeless outside the walls from the fight. And during this time, you sort of see Namari staring, showing a bit of a small moment of weakness as they shed a bit of a tear and a frown as he turns his head forwards and tries to steel himself before pressing on with you guys. Excuse me. But moving through there, go to, I believe it, N, yeah. The previous section where you had met that battling forest creature sort of lays close to darkness at this point. The edges are consumed by the encroaching night. And if it weren't for all of the keen eyes of all of you watching intently, most of the forest line and the shadows would make for really awesome ambush points. But you do slowly keep moving forward. You make out your previous cart tracks now that are filled up with water. Now that you've sort of broken through the large veil and coverage from the forest, it reveals the severely dark sky overhead in the direction that you're heading. The clouds are lighter on the edges, but the ones above what you presume to be Cresh are quite dark and swirling at this point, which is only probably about another half an hour or so away. Anything you guys wish to do while you're traversing to this point?
yeah, I want to, every now and then, if I feel like the cart's trying to get stuck or slide, I want to jump off the back and push on it. Kind of help take some of the weight off the tongue and everything so it doesn't snap again.
Okay. Awesome. That which definitely helps your progression as well, because a lot of that stress was the oxen really motoring, trying to pull through, and with the weight of everyone in it as well, it doesn't help it getting stuck. But you jump out, push to help the ease of travel here. In doing so, continuing on, or anyone else wish to do stuff? There you go.
The stuff I wish to do is not going to be able to happen in the darkness slash moving of the cart.
Okay.
Arnie's just trying his best to keep his eye out for any movement in the dark.
Okay. Very, very well.
I just drive.
And you just fucking drive. And what you notice too eventually is rumbling starts happening. The occasional shaking and tremoring. which triggers bad memories, as you know what that means. The sensation you're all quite familiar with at this point. You start to branch a corner, and you see the path that leads towards the side entrance of Cresh. And flames burn through the rain in certain parts of town. The side gate laid sundered, again familiar with these massive bramble vines that have pierced up through the surface of the ground and have begun their reign of destruction. You hear very distant screaming and yelling coming from within the town through the sounds of nature, the heavy rain and the wind, indicating that there is still people within inside the town. And you start to close and move towards the town. The more the corners and edges around you start to darken and blur. And each step taken towards the now visible Cresh begins to thicken the amount of darkness until you can eventually, until it's very hard to see at a distance. There's some sort of incantation or enchantment that's been cast around here that's darkening your sight and makes it a lot harder to see clearly. Uh,
I was just like, I can't see shit.
okay. 1 second. Nearing the broken gate portion, you start to notice two vines that are slightly different in coloration that are thrashing wildly, and they are starting to destroy things as they are hit. And it's visible from the lights of the flame. A guard is sort of grabbed by one of these, just flung overhead and into the towns. Most likely not going to survive that fall. um, the brambles have these surging streaks of purple, almost blue through them, this essence emitting from the knots and the cracks in the wood. Much different, but similar to the queen coloration. They sway back and forth, awaiting any target it seems to be able to reach before sort of retracting back into the ground and then resurfacing a couple feet away and then scanning over the area again. While scanning this, you hear this wail let out in the town. This sort of like ghostly cry or something that lets out from the inside of town, followed by inaudible words coming out from the distance. You watch another guard lean out from a tower, begins to start to shoot at one of these brambles before it lashes out and just cleaves the top part of the tower off, and then it falls out, scattering the guard and the tower to the ground. Thunder and lightning ring in the distance, sort of silences the chaos around for just a second. And Barney, you notice your symbol beginning to sort of glow slightly. But this time it's definitely not for communion, but more of a warning. And you hear Namari for a second goes, no, 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 not here too. Damn it, no! He starts to get upset about
Can I can I cast dark vision on myself?
it.
I don't know if that
Um,
throws
what?
anything.
Nope, that's okay. I just have to change your vision to 6.
60 feet. Okay, that's good. That's a lot better.
Yeah, so a lot of this area again seems to be cast in some sort of essence of darkness. It doesn't prevent the flames from revealing the immediate area around them, but all the corners and the buildings and everything seems to be locked in this dim lit or extreme darkness. Mari hops off and you can see him draw his bow. I do have a character sheet made for Namari if someone wishes to control them, but that we'll get to that point of this when we need to.
Um,
But again, what you notice immediately is this portion of where the buildings and walls were are blown out. There's a large crack in the ground. The rain is super, super heavy. And these are those vines that thrash wildly about through different protrusions in the ground.
does it look like we could get around right there?
You sure could, yeah. But the
Um,
crack is quite large.
okay. Um, yeah, I'll run to there or whatever and start trying to climb over the edge
Okay.
or like around the hole.
Okay. You notice as you get closer as well, these vines are just like slamming up against the side of buildings and trees. They are just on a hell-bent path of destruction. From their point of emerging out of the grounds, they have a bit of reach to their length as they do thrashing wildly about.
When you say a bit, can you estimate 10, 15 feet, 10, 20 feet?
They seem to reach. Make a perception. At disadvantage because you have dark vision. So yeah, just a perception. Okay, you notice they lash anywhere from 10 to 15 feet away from where they protruded out of the ground. They slam here and then slam up over here, and they seem to be quite restless as well when they're in their path of destruction.
I'd like to go into my starry form.
Okay.
Archer.
Okay, so I'd like to do this just for to have it on record. Can everyone roll initiative as well, just so I can turn orders of what people want to do? Oh shit. Okay. All right. Awesome. You cast your starry form upon yourself.
I don't know if it would affect light for everyone else, but I have like basically 10 feet of radius of bright light and 10 foot of dim light from me whenever I switch
Achieve
with
that.
my form.
There you go.
Then I'd like to, as part of the change in the story form, throw an arrow or a bolt at that one as my bonus action.
This one?
Uh,
Sorry, that one?
yeah.
Okay. Yes, you definitely can. Okay, an 11 hits and 4 points of radiant damage. It blasts into it, and you sense the radiant damage from that flares against the sort of dark bramble, and it causes a discoloration in the purple lighting from some of those knots and cracks in it, where it starts to go thrash wildly more than it was.
And then that's my action. I want to cast Starry Wisp at it.
15 hits, 8 points of radiant damage. That one, it burns. You all watch this blast of energy from Altair in this moment to taking point, rushing in, and the radiant energy from their attacks start to burn and char this bramble as it collapses out, falls on the ground.
And now, since he's holding a shield and a staff, stuff isn't being channeled through like his hands and stuff. Everything's coming out of, is going from his hand through the crystal in the middle of his staff and out the top of the staff.
Okay. Check.
Okay. And I guess I'll just be done and wait till see what everyone else wants to do.
Okay. Yep. They can't reach you at this point. Nothing seems to be reaching out, and in that moment of action, you let out your starry form and then blast it with this radiant energy enough to catch it, and it seems to destroy the bramble as the purplish energy within it just kind of fizzles out, and the bramble collapses over onto its side and doesn't retract into the ground. After that, this one pulls into the ground. It pulls down. What would anyone and everyone like to do?
Mama Man wants to use his action to secure the oxen.
Okay, I was going to say, like, Namari didn't, but you, where are you going to try and secure it?
Is there any place behind me that's like a tree or anything?
Yeah, you could definitely backtrack slightly to do so, especially if this is a bit of a clearing here. It'd take you a couple minutes just to get to sort of pull back and get over.
Okay, and part of that process, I'm gonna rig up eye blinders, so
Okay.
he can only see like directly in front of him, sort of thing, and have him pointed, towards the tree with the tether and stuff, so he's not seeing stuff that will disturb him.
Okay.
He's a timeout.
You go stand in the
Bjorn,
corner, Ferdinand.
he's like, roar, 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 roar. Namari's on point with you guys as well with his bow drawn as you all start to rush up here. Bjorn and Barney, you start to meet where Altair is, and you watch them just destroy one of the vines that you've seen around. The other one retracts into the ground, and as you reach that point, you start to feel rumbling and the earth beneath your feet starting to shake. I need Bjorn and Altair to make dexterity saving throws, please. Damn, that's good. That's good, Altair. Bjorn, you realize it, and whether you choose to say anything or something, you're able to dodge out of the way. But that vine busts up through the ground and is coming out sideways towards Altair. It's
Hello,
quick.
incoming. Like as I feel it coming up, I'm like incoming.
That's only an 8 to hit though, so it doesn't hit you. But it proves right up beside you, and that bramble vine is right beside you. Barney, what are you doing in this moment? Sorry,
I'm
technically it would be Bjorn to react and then Barney.
I'll react by shooting my bow into it.
Okay.
Now, right now, seeing I'm like supercharged, I just grab my bow and I pull back, and you start hearing like the crackle of lightning and thunder hitting as a lightning arrow forms.
Zach,
Seeing how I'm charged up for 24 hours.
here you are. It definitely hits. And go ahead and roll your increase. Fuck, okay. Blasts into that one. It almost like it's going to, it swipes that Altair, he moves out of the way, and you catch it in that moment, and the vine burns, chars, and collapses over onto the ground. They do seem to have a slight bit of durability to them, but they're not super, super hardy, and you seem to be sort of cleaving through them a bit easier. But, with what's going on in the town, you're unsure. You all do reach this point, and you watch a lot of the streets are, they soaked from the storm, but there's debris scattered everywhere from this destruction. You watch flames that are burning within all these buildings. And the heaviness of the rain isn't enough to extinguish the flames from within the houses, but a lot of it isn't. It's preventing it from spreading everywhere, I guess you can say. The moment you start taking in where to go or how you're going to get there, you watch this flash in the darkness, which reveals a figure that stands on the top of there's a flash where this darkness reveals a figure standing on top of one of the central buildings. It is wrapped in this purplish whirling glow, and this figure begins to twist down and gaze upon you all, sort of almost like leaning over to inspect you. It appears humanoid, but taller than most, but not super large or anything. It's not as tall as you are, Bjorn. The eyes are glowing purple, along with that same swirling energy is in the same color. The features of this humanoid are very still much womanly and elven, and atop of its heads are vines and bramble that are dark and black. It seems to be trained to keep the moss and vines from covering the face. The arms are longer and corrupt, these extended claws from the fingers, and she begins to sort of sway back and forth as her arms extend outward, cracking and shifting before she hammers the top of the roof. And then vines blast out of the side of the building and into the ground, where she then uses them to hoist herself up and then swing down onto the street about 60 or so feet away from you. She stays half facing you, but looking over her shoulder, watching you. And you hear that, "You're too late." And then she pulls rapidly, swings further onto this bramble, sort of using it to vault herself up over the buildings and disappears into the town.
Bjorn recognized her as one of the ones he saw in his vision.
You would. You would, yes. Especially because it was quite clear through the flame and just her glow. One of the features is quite prominent from your visions, yes. Mumble Man, at this point, you catch up from tying the oxen up.
Tell everyone real quick. When we were back there, my father showed me things. That is one of the elves from an ancient city that the queen destroyed. And her sap, as we're calling it, soaked into them and brought them back as like her slaves. And they melded into one, but I guess they can split apart. There was 6 of them.
What about the burning tree guy? Was he one of them?
I would say yes. Again, I didn't go into much detail with the figures, but a lot of the higher mages that were felled that day had striking familiarity to this. You know, this was the purple-haired woman that you'd seen. There was a red-headed elven man that you kind of quickly put together that you might have seen the day or earlier in the day today.
Okay.
Seemed like a bunch of the high mages that were killed by the queen in an great elven city a long time ago. And they seem to be her minions. Just a heads up,
Well,
they
we
are
have to.
definitely directly from the queen.
Well, we have to be smart. I'm almost spent on everything I have. I'm gonna keep it for a heal if needed.
You said you've seen these things. What do you need me to do? I'm ready and on point. I'm not at full, and I've mostly expended my arcana for the day as well, but I am ready and willing.
I too
All we
am
can do is
spent for the day, but I'm willing to fight.
we're gonna have to wither what we can down and see if anybody's alive.
I ask, should we go to the blacksmith or Reuben first? My vote's Reuben.
Blacksmith.
I say we split.
Okay. Mumble Man, let's go to Reuben. I already know who you want to go to. Because it seemed like they wanted me to get Reuben to go to the Dragonode to help upgrade the telescopes, if I'm remembering correctly, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I got
So,
the same sort of information
okay.
from
That
your
is
experiences, anyways.
Reuben's my vote for me.
I think we should go try to get Ruben first. He might be able to help us if we find him okay.
I have pulled out again Namari. If I've made a very brief character sheet for them, it is controllable by any one of you guys if you so choose to use them. I am not going to influence them in combat very much, as I don't want to do that. But there is very quick things like, just for example, like they have one first level spell slot left. That's it. So whether it's used for, say, Hunter's Mark or something, I have a quick bow and Hunter's Mark attack roll made for Namari, or short sword and bow. So that is there if you so choose. It's up to you.
I will do it if nobody else wants to.
I don't really want to.
I feel like, yeah, I mean that's fine, but if he goes with Bjorn, it might be easier for
Well, yeah, if we do end up
Bjorn to
splitting the
do it.
party, then Namir can go with Bjorn, and then
Okay.
Bernie has to decide who he's going with. Or did you already make your choice, Bernie?
Arnie said we shouldn't split. Arnie said we should all go to get what's his name together, and then see if he can help us too.
Bjorn still wants to get lucky tonight.
But also during that interaction with that womanly creature, it seems like she is commanding and controlling the roots. She was able to summon them at will and use them to vault herself around. So that's just something to be aware of.
Okay. Are we gonna do movement or order, or can we just free move?
For right now, there's again, I have initiative in place, but you're able to sort of free will through where you wish to go right now.
Okay, I'm gonna start heading this direction.
Okay. And you do, and you push into the town. You can see the level of destruction here is pretty hard. A lot of the ground is sundered from where these roots have pulled up, and it started to destroy things. You realize immediately that some of the immediate buildings that were here are gone, whether they've fallen into this or they've been completely leveled out. Gems and vines have protruded up out of the ground, queen influence gems at that. But yes, the center portion of town, two of the buildings are ablaze from the inside. You don't hear anything as far as people at this point, but it is quite hasty around here. It's dark and it is pouring rain.
Okay. Then I would move another 30 feet, I believe, and I'd attack, do my same 1-2 against that thing, that
Okay.
vine. So that would be 21 for 6 damage, and a 7 I'm sure misses.
The 7 misses. It goes wide and blasts into the side of the building. It flares up through the darkness a bit just due to its radiant nature. The first one does pierce the top portion of this one, and it begins to sort of writhe and react poorly from it and begins to thrash about before it pulls itself into the ground.
Just before you get too far in, I can't find Namari's character sheet. It's not in the player allies.
It's at the very top, right above it.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry, I
scout.
put it right
Okay,
out in
yeah,
the
sorry.
open there.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, man. I should have specified. But yes, it does react from that attack, Altair. It didn't seem to collapse and writhe away, but it pulled into the ground again. And you are near where Ruben's residence is currently. You can see there is a number of felled guards around here and one dead civilian. They seem to be torn apart by the vines.
Is the fire here supposed to be a torch?
Yeah, that's
Like,
part of the
okay.
streetlights of the city
Okay,
here.
just wanted to make sure.
It is emitting slightly dim light just in this darkness. Mumbleman, where you stand as well, there's a slight glisten and crackle from the tree as you watch white ichor pouring out of one spot.
I guess which one it was. This one was Ruben's front door, right?
It was that building, yes. And you see that door is blasted open at the moment.
Oh,
And when you approach, you can look inside and you see Ruben's chamber, and it isn't entirely destroyed inside, but it looks like there's no one present inside this building. And there is some of his belongings still present, although some of his alchemical stuff has been gathered up.
okay. I will bonus action cast Shillelagh.
Okay.
And I won't walk in because I don't know how shifty this guy is, I will stick my head in and say and just yell Ruben. Not yell, but like say it loudly. Like, Ruben, are you in here?
You get no reply as you look in, and you quickly realize that there is no one within this chamber. But the moment you do yell that out, busting up through the ground beside the side of the building here, another one of those vines, or the similar one, as you can tell, it has some of the radiant burn silicates to the side of it, is busts out and is just being like lashing sideways like a whip. Uh, 23 to hit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, that's not. You take 4 points of slashing damage as it rakes across the front of you, and is now, you all watch this vine is slapped Altair across the side of the head.
A quick shot at it.
I will attack it with my short sword.
Yeah, you do. The 9 piercing damage from that fells the vine right before you go to strike at it. Already suffering some damage from it.
Barney also like took a step toward it and raised his sword, and he's like,
You hear, you realize up behind you, you hear, well, you're no fun. Up through the ground, another vine as she punches the roof. Another vine shoots up behind Namari and Bjorn. It's going to like slash towards you, Bjorn. 15 to hit.
15 just hits.
Does
Just
that
hits.
include your defense that you still have?
I still have it.
It's the same day, is it not?
Then it misses.
You duck out of the way as she vaults off again the side of the roof. Disappears out of sight. The vine is left there, still wriggling and writhing out of the ground. Namari jumps backwards just instinctually and goes to pull up. But anyone can act in this moment. This is still outside of turn order. I'd say Barney, if anything.
yeah. If Bjorn was looking at her, I'm gonna run up and I'll attack it.
Oh, yeah, you do. 17 hits, 6 points of damage. You cut off the upper portion of it, leaving like a stump of about 3 or so feet. And it starts to like, you're like, oh shit, and begins to thrash about like you're going to get hit. And then Bjorn launches in an attack into it, finishes off this vine in the ground. Excuse me. But yes, Altair, you're quickly to ascertain that there's no one inside this building. And a lot of his belongings are still present, just some of the, well, a very light few have been taken.
Okay. Then I just turn to Mullen and say, I don't think he's in here. We should probably push on.
All right.
So, yeah.
Did you pass that out? Did we
That
hear
does
that or?
Ruben's not there.
Oh. Well, should we go check on your girl, Bjorn?
You shooting towards this one?
Yeah, that one right there.
Okay, it was kind of idle, kind of hanging out there. You see that it most likely has recently killed one of the surroundings around there, and you blast with lightning energy, which causes it to like sort of lock up and shake. And then, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put an X on that. But it then pulls into the ground. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm going down.
Mumble Man's gonna check these bodies for signs of life.
The civilian, severed. The one guard beside you, they look like they've been run through multiple times by vines, and this one here has been pulled and cinched tightly to the ground. And the other one over here has been sort of rolled just from the protrusion of that other one, but they are very, very dead.
And then I will move on.
I tell Bjorn I think the blacksmith is this way, I guess. Then I'll shoot this one when I see it. Why can't I ping it?
Okay,
That
yeah,
one.
you see that one thrashing out against the side of a building over here. just destroying the one front portion of wall as it thrashes back and forth and back and forth. And oh, damn. And without any other check involved, the radiant energy of that just dissolves this one completely. One vine busts up over the ground here, and is going to attack Mari.
I love that.
What's
We
going on?
just met him. It's all good.
It's like, sorry, bro. Oops. The top one. 10 points of slashing as that one lashes out into Mari's like, ah! And you can see him like starts retaliating, shooting arrows at it. And the fuck?
So obviously Murray's gonna retaliate.
Yes. He can attack twice as well. He's level 5.
Oh, sweet. And it's at a distance, so he can use his bow, correct?
That is correct. 23 definitely hits, and a 24 hits. That is enough, I would say, just to sever that vine in the moment. And you hear that. And then you try and catch up with the rest of them as Barney, Altair, and Bjorn sort of reach this other point. And you can now see Bjorn, the blacksmith's hut. Isn't quite as sundered, but you still see lights on inside. The torch is still blow outside, hasn't entirely gone out from the rain. It's got the top to it to shelter it from water. But there is another vine that is thrashing out wildly at it. Natural 1. Okay. That one destroys the arrow as you pull back. It's like almost like the way you would Robin Hood another arrow. The strength of you pulling back in the moment just splits the arrow in two directions, and it jams a piece of the wood into your fucking thumb as it lets go, and you take 2 points of damage. This one over here, you see it pull into the ground as this one continues its thrashing as it hasn't been interrupted yet.
I'll shoot at it then.
Okay. Oh, fuck. You definitely fucking do. Another series of radiant energy burning through it. You don't look behind you very much, do you? And then up through the ground, more vines emerge from in between pretty much the whole cluster of you. Is it going to do like a whirling sweep and try and hit as many of you as it possibly can in that whole, I guess, bludgeoning-like effect. So this will be a swoop towards Altair, Bjorn, Barney. It's 24 to hit. That'll hit her.
Just misses. Yeah, no.
Yeah, just yeah.
Thanks to the bark shield. No, Jack.
Yeah. Everyone takes 5 points of slashing. That one is bleeds across all 3 of you. And you can react post that however you so choose. A combination attack between Bjorn and Altair and Barney. Just fucking char this one out.
Die.
And
After
you get
everyone hits it, Barney stabs it one more time
yeah.
before we go
Fuck
in.
you. Fuck you. Yeah. You rush up to the building, Bjorn, and you can see your cart has been pulled closer to it. It has a lot of stuff in it, like she had been packing. But what you notice is that a part of one of the shelves of her weapons and armor has fallen against her front door.
Up and grab it and just throw it out of the way.
What you do? Who's that? Who's out there? I'm armed and ready.
Bjorn! And I just ripped the door off the hinges pretty much.
It's like, oh, fuck! Puddle. I'm just kidding. No,
His
just,
head
oh my
is all
god, it's you! Oh, fuck.
his head's
Oh my
all
god.
shiny from that ointment from
Yeah,
earlier.
fucking Giga Chad chin and everything. But yeah, she is in there. She has like a long sword that she held like at the ready, like but yeah, you and like she was getting ready to strike, but then was like, oh wait, it's you. She's like, oh my god, thank god it's you. I've been stuck in here. I don't know how to get out. I think something fell against the side of the wall or something.
Yes. She's under attack. The
Is it
queen
safe?
is.
Is it safe?
No. There's many things out here and all kinds of. A lot of the townsfolk seem to be dead.
Oh my god, no. What do we do? What do we do? Are you getting me out of here?
Best we can. We're gonna have to get rid of this stuff so we can move.
Runs and jumps at your. Don't leave me! Don't leave me behind, please!
It'd be dangerous for you to walk with us until we clear the path.
Well, what do I do? Do I just stay here then?
Stay inside. I'll rebar your door. But by chance, did you finish that armor? Because I'm gonna need the extra protection.
Make a persuasion check, and two, say, I haven't had much time to work on that. You haven't even been gone a couple hours yet. Well, no, it's been longer than that, but I haven't got it quite done yet. I've been packing. I've been getting ready. I don't want to go back in there. Take me. Don't leave me here.
I grab her and push her back inside and slam a bunch of stuff in front of it. It's for your own good.
Make a strength check. Unintentionally, mildly hurling this woman back inside her house. She does knock shit like off kilter, I guess you say, but she realizes the sincerity behind that. She's like, okay, Jesus Christ. She like grabs her arm, like, ow. And then you just like slam the door shut and block shit over it again. She's like, please come back. It obviously gets muddled or muffled as you close the door down. You get to this point.
The blacksmith's alive. So that's one person.
For everyone else here, you see and make sight of this really weirdly placed tower near the docks. As you've gotten close to this proximity, it has these smaller, linear type hold has been erected here. And again, strangely, you did not notice this here earlier in the day. It's either of new construction or build. It looks pretty sound and defensive, but it is currently being assaulted by a number of those purplish bramble vines that you've seen through town as they sort of bludgeon the sides of it back and forth, working away at the stone foundation. And you hear that, yes, yes, kill, defile, crush. You hear that head, that figure of that woman is standing pretty close by on tops of the illuminated by the fire on one of the buildings here. She cocks her head almost backwards when she notices you, then spins on her heel before slamming into the stonework of the ground and dock, cracking it slightly again. She goes, oh, just in time. I was getting bored. Her Majesty demands more blood, and I shall obey. Now, newfound prey. Don't play hero and come hither and ride. Begins to extend her arms out to her sides and blast bramble thorns out one more time, pulling herself up off of the ground as she stares menacingly at you all. I've heard of who you are and what you've done. Watch me, Agadon! I'll be the one to present you lifeless husk to the queen. And I'll do it all by myself! That's where we're going to pick up with next session. This is going to ensue into a large battle.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Sorry, I didn't want to yell too loudly. My wife is trying to sleep, but at the same time, I wanted to really get that across. But currently, this purple form of this woman is off the ground, and she's using 2 of the bramble vines extended from her own arms to keep her suspended off the ground.
Bjorn was so about to start saying some shit.
You can say what you wish to say in the moment, but we will pick up as far as combat after that.
Bjorn was going to start calling out, "How can you serve someone who killed your whole entire city? Killed you, resurrected you, and made you kill others? Do you not remember your old self?"
Make a persuasion check when you say that. She just laughed, like, and then looks down at you. Doesn't seem to ring true with her, at least.
Charisma, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh,
Awesome, but hey, good session, guys.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I figure this is going to take